Hi, I'm Anthony Casey and welcome to episode 8 of Training to Have Truth. Okay, welcome to episode 8 of Training to Truth. I'm here with Tom Dunne and Paddy Boyle, and we're going to get into some different kind of talks today, maybe different few ideas. But the first thing we'll do is go over the concepts of training, thought and truth. Now I know that two of you know about this podcast. You're probably
big
fans, yeah, the founders, the main supporters of the podcast. So basically the training is the physical exercise and diet. Thought is, that's kind of, I suppose, the books we're picking up on. Not just the books though, but I suppose nowadays YouTube has replaced books and documentaries and all that, hasn't it? Like,
easily.
Talk about that a little bit. And then truth then is what we believe in and where we get our meaning from in a lot of ways. So we'll go through them three things. So training, first of all, I want to talk to you about that, Paddy. Paddy, your training kind of, you always talk to me, give me a text here and there when we're talking about jogging and running, and you hit the heavy bag a good bit. You have one hanging in your back garden, same as myself and same as Noel and all. What do you find the benefits of the likes of that, incorporating kind of the boxing side of things?
Well, the way I look at it is, and sometimes people laugh when you say it, but the thing to say is, what's the best type of exercise? And that's the one you'll do, you know. So if you're into something, you'll do it. You'll stay with it. I just love ripping into the heavy bag. That's something I love doing, you know. And as well as that, I think the best thing for me anyway, cardiovascular wise, to improve the fitness would be running. I love the running, you know.
It's tough though, isn't it? It's hard going.
It can be hard on the joints too, because I find myself, I have to slow myself down when I'm starting into running, even if I haven't done it for a while. I have to kind of deliberately slow myself down, because other than that, I'd only get in a run or two in the week max. Whereas I can do the heavy bag, and it's because of the back for me.
Yeah. The
bottom of the back everything starts to stiffen up down here.
That's right, yeah.
And that's where I'm affected when I do the running, because the temptation is there to just
keep going.
Yeah.
Was it just posture, like, or?
I think I want to be running fast. I always, you remember we used to play a lot of soccer, and
I hope it was catching.
You were the sharpshooter. You used to. Tom could score and his brother was the same, Derek. They could score a goal from anywhere on the pitch, and they could make the ball do the work.
Yeah.
What I did was I'd cut off down the wing, and I'd
wouldn't stop
sprint.
You run into
I'd
the wall.
Sprint, and I wouldn't stop till I hit something. I'd sprint, and it'd be hard up to catch me, but it was always in me to be sprinting.
Yeah.
But now when I go running, I have to deliberately, and it's something I've been looking up now, and it's something I'm interested in, is building an aerobic base.
Yeah.
And when I've looked up about that, they recommend you deliberately slow yourself down and go at a slower pace. And
yeah, funny enough, Kevin, I was trying to get back into the run a while ago, and Kevin says to me, "You're too fast out the gates, you know, and you're tiring way too fast." He says, "You know, you're barely moving from a walk to a jog when you're getting going. You know, you're jogging, but it's not much speed behind it, and that will carry you. And then over time, but as well, I went out and did a jog myself there the other day, and my legs are still a bit sore. This was about 3 days ago. So sometimes I struggle with that. You know what I mean? The pain of it. Do you get much of that? Obviously, you get it up your back.
I do want to know. The first run I did, and it was only a slow one, because I'm only started back doing a little bit of running. The first one I did, I felt $1 million after it. It's a funny thing you get from a run is you feel kind of relaxed and energized.
Yeah.
It sounds like a contradiction, but that's the way. That's what I get from it if I had a nice run.
But saying about boxing, I'd say your love of boxing is what made you get the heavy bag and even begin that kind of training. Would that be right?
Yeah, I love watching it. I love following it. It's my favourite sport.
Yeah.
I love the Gaelic football to watch as well, and and that. But no, boxing is definitely my favourite sport.
I thought it was actually the oldest sport in the world, and I looked it up the other day, looking for facts on boxing, and it's not. Actually, wrestling is. But I think it's the act of wrestling. Like, there's caveman drawings of the competitive wrestling between them. That's good. It's funny, isn't it? Like, that goes back. Because I always thought boxing was. Because you imagine boxing, it's like.
This is like the first thing you go to, striking.
Basically, with gloves on the end of our arms, you know what I mean? Like, that's what like you'd imagine they go to. But I think competitively, as a game, as a set of rules, rule-based game, was wrestling was the first thing. And then boxing was where they draw the square. And that's what they drew a circle, didn't they? And that's what they called the squared circle.
Yeah.
Isn't that the idea? Yeah?
I think so.
But what about you, Tom? Because you went back a few years ago to back at the GA, didn't you?
Yeah.
And where was that?
That was in Barrow House.
Yeah.
It was. I kind of turned into a no man, if you get me. Like, be like, yeah, do you want to do this? Nah. You want to do this? Nah. And then one day, brother-in-law texts me, Barrow House are standing back training. Do you want to go? I was like, you know what? Yeah. Right. So I said, all right, go back. Went there first night, couldn't do half a lap of a pitch. I don't know who I was well over 22 stone, I'd say, at that stage. And was gassed after half a lap. The other boys tore on. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Disheartening, isn't it?
Huh?
Disheartening.
Oh, disheartening is definitely a word for it. It's like that first night, that first minutes of doing that lap, I was like, nah, this isn't for me. Stuck with it though. And then...
That's the important thing, isn't it?
And slow, I knew no one there apart from the brother-in-law, and quickly, obviously you don't know anyone's name. You're like, if we're doing drills, passing the ball, like, oh, can you pass it to me? Oh, I don't know your name. And but slowly but surely, got into it pretty heavily and was dedicated. And I was also doing Slim World diet at the same time.
And you lost a lot of weight through this, didn't you?
Got down to 16 stone.
It's like 4 or 5 stone drop.
Yeah. That was over the course of maybe a year and a half.
Yeah. Jeez.
And
that's very quick.
It was, yeah.
And a fit 16 stone, like the
A
heart
fit,
lungs
you
could run. You could run.
Because Tom sent me a photo, and I'll probably put it up now, of the difference, the two. Like, it's crazy.
That was basically about 18 months into it.
Yeah. And then you went over on your ankle. Is that right?
Yeah, that was June of 16, I'd say. This was maybe 2 or 3 months after that initial, that was the picture from the weight loss, and it was like, and then it was up in Cretty Yard, never forget it. And the ground was really hard, and turned on one way with the football boots on, got caught in the ground, and heard a click. Didn't think anything of it. Went on, played the rest of the game, and maybe the day after, I was like, right, something's after happening here. And I was like, I did it the year before, and played through it, and knew there was pain there. I had to stop training a couple of times, went through it, ran through it. I was like, right, I'll do the same again this time.
Yeah.
What did I do? Only made it 10 times worse. So here we are, to this day, it's still not right.
Yeah.
Holds me back a lot. Pain wise, it's terrible in the mornings, and even if you do a long walk, or if you're fast walking, or if you're jogging around like that, it just
kills you.
It kills me after.
You know what I found very funny though, not that story, but that's your Achilles heel, and you sent me it was like a screenshot of a jog or kind of walk you did 5k there recently.
Yeah.
And it says jog with Apollo.
Apollo, yeah.
Is that your dog name?
Yeah.
Why did you pick that name?
God.
I have an idea.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm getting at here?
Yes.
Well, I had to
jump out at anyone that
Apollo. It was just.
I only put this together there a day or two ago.
I had a dog before him. He was Crixus, and he was named after a character of the Spartacus TV show. Right, so then we got Apollo, and I was like, what are we going to call this lad? And so we're kind of like, is this going to be some kind of Greek name or some kind of god name or something like that? And
it's very coincidental the way you picked it. Paddy, you were saying
maybe I'm on a totally different trajectory than yourself.
Well, not coincidental, but I thought it was funny because you're getting back jogging, and the one thing holding you back is your Achilles heel. That's your Achilles tendon. Yeah,
I see where you're going with it. Yeah.
And who killed Achilles?
You were going deeper on it out me.
Who killed him?
God.
Apollo was the one who guided the arrow into Achilles' heel.
And I was thinking,
and it's funny that you were when I saw you were out with your.
Oh right, it went somewhere totally different. I didn't even know that.
No, well, I only caught it the other day. I was looking up, the Achilles heel, and they say, obviously that's Greek mythology, and he was a big warrior, strong as anything.
Yeah.
His mother was overbearing, and the only thing when she dipped him in the water,
she held him by
the Achilles heel.
Yeah.
So that's the only part
that was the weak part of him, and no one could kill him in battle. And then he was at a funeral, I believe, and someone took a shot, and it was Apollo who guided the arrow and right to his heel. And it's funny, you were out trying to battle through your Achilles heel and Apollo alongside you.
That's crazy.
I just thought it was
that
funny.
Is crazy. I never even thought of that.
No, I just thought, I was like, wonder why he picked that name for that dog. But
I thought you were talking about Rocky.
Yeah.
Honestly, God, Apollo Creed. I didn't be. Yeah.
But that's kind of a roller coaster. Kind of, when you get them injuries, like we're saying, like obviously I've been injured there for the last while, and it's not just the physical side; it's the mental side, isn't it? When you want to run on and you don't want to feel any pain,
that can be tougher, I'd say. For
held back, you don't see the results. Like I've been sitting out for 8 weeks now, and muscle mass is gone, my fitness is gone, and I'm just going to talk about intermittent fasting. I was saying to you earlier on. I took this on. I seen this Joe Rogan clip, and it has your man GSP talking about it, and a few surgeons and doctors talking to Joe Rogan. He does it as well. This 16/8 intermittent fasting. The Rock does it sometimes, and so does what's his name? Plays Wolverine.
Oh, Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman does it as well. A lot of the guys do it where they fast for 16 hours, eat for 8, a window of 8. I was talking to one of the lads, Quinn, who was up the other day, and he says, funny enough you're talking about that, I'm about to start that tonight, 18/6, so 18 hours, it's a little bit tougher again, and 6 hour window to eat. So I said, look, I'll give it a bash, and we did it last week. And my jogging, I went to a boxing fight with him on Saturday, and I went out for a jog, and I did. My fitness is gone, I was doing 5Ks before I crashed non-stop, like, I was paring down my time. I did 1.5 kilometres, and I stopped gasping out of breath, and I tried to make it back, did another kilometre back. That was last Saturday. I did.
Funny how quick it can go. Like
7 or 8 weeks just sitting around, Now I know sleep has a big effect on your performance. If I get a good kip, I'll definitely go further. But I went out 17 hours into a fast this week for a jog during work. So at 12 o'clock I went out for a jog. I did 7K non-stop, and the only reason I stopped was because my lunch break was over, and I've never done anything.
And you had more in the tank,
and that was hadn't eaten in 17 hours, and I would have done definitely 8 kilometres. I don't know when I would have stopped, And I thought to myself, I can't chalk that down to the intermittent fasting because it's a one-off, and you need more than one example to chalk things down. So this week I'll go through it again. It's very interesting though, because you'd imagine with 17 hours of no food, you'd have no fuel.
Well, it's everything you need food for energy. That's drilled into you.
That's the thing.
Do you know what I mean?
But after 12 hours, apparently, you stop using your food cells and you go straight from the fat cells. So everything you do after 12 hours, you're burning fat.
That's something
just direct fat.
Yeah, that rings a bell, and that's something I've been looking into in a different way. But glycogen, you say, your glycogen stores. Because I was looking into it, I love looking up all this stuff, and I was looking into it because I felt that run I was saying I went on. I felt great after that first one. What I did was not session for me. I mean, I don't do like my brother, for example, or even yourself. He'd really go at the weights, like
I've been in the gym with your brother a few times. Yeah,
he doesn't go easy.
No, and you've been in as well, haven't you, Tom?
I'm good with him upper body.
Yeah,
lower body though, he's an animal.
He's crazy.
Yeah. He's strong. You sent me on the video as well, like. But they reckon if you do the weights before you run, that's using up your glycogen stores. So then when you go running, you're purely working off the fat.
Yeah.
So it's
And funny, I didn't think the fat set. I don't know, but I was going back and forth, and And I was like to myself, the only reason I stopped was because I got back to work. I'd done the loop.
Yeah.
So you could have went further.
Could have went further. And I don't know how, because that's 150% more than I've ever done. And I was still...
Than you've ever
usually,
done.
if I, at 5k, I would look at watching, and I collapse at the 5k mark, you know.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to do a 5k in months. And I did 7. And, 7.5 is 150%. But, you know what I mean?
It's a massive coincidence if it's just that, though.
It is a massive coincidence.
You know what I mean?
It's interesting to see. Like, I've weighed myself in, so I'll see what weight I am now. I'm going to have a few points today.
Yeah.
But apparently the way that intermittent fasting works is 5-2. You do it 5 days a week and you're off 2 days a week. But that's how your body works because it resets itself. It's not just because it's convenient for the weekend.
So what about the 2 days that you're off? Like, what is that? Just a normal day?
I don't think you can take the piss, really. You know, like, I don't think you
it's just relaxed a little bit.
Yeah, you eat somewhat decent though, and you don't. Now Quinn is doing 16/8 the weekends, and then he's gone back to his 18/6 the weekdays.
It takes a fair bit of discipline, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because you're all working, like yourself, and Quinn and all of us are working. Like,
sure, like we have visitors over here on Wednesday, Thursday night, and I knew I was coming up on my by the end of it's almost time for me to eat again, or for the window where I can't eat anymore. Yeah. So I had said, "Oh, sorry, you have to go and eat something." You know what I mean? Like, and I said, because I'm not going to eat for the next 18 hours. Like, but and I thought, well, also that leads into you were talking recently there, Paddy, about spark exercise.
Yeah,
you read a book on it or something, did you?
I did. Now it's a couple of years ago, but they were talking about exercise effect on the brain and how kids perform better. They've actually studied it in America now. Don't ask me the name of the schools because I had a right to brush up on it before I called into you. But to say it's brain-derived neurotrophic factor or something like that that builds up in the brain from exercise. It's opening new neural pathways and this, that, and the other. And people perform better. They can focus better. And it's good for all sorts, like depression, anxiety, prevention against Alzheimer's.
Yeah, because
all these things.
You told me about this. Look up this book, and I did look it up. And I looked up. I didn't read the book because I've about 7 books I'm in the middle of reading at the moment. But I looked up documentaries on it from the findings from that book, and I seen the 2 schools they're putting in. It's like in Michigan or something. I don't know where, but one they extended their break time, their exercise time, and they gave them certain drills to do. And their results increased hugely.
Yeah,
but they ranked like worldwide, like top 4 in mathematics and things like this, like ridiculous results out of it. And they a very good note. I think I wrote down the doctor's name. I can't remember, but he said we basically concluded that exercise is the medicine for the brain. Basically, that's what they're saying. You know,
we're built with such capacity, and we don't tap into half of it. Like when you think of what previous generations would have done in Ireland. Tom's grandparents, your grandparents, my grandparents, you know what I mean?
Yeah, nothing but hard labour and you know.
Yeah, but they had the capacity for it, didn't they, Tom?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like I wouldn't be able, like to do a day is like a proper hard. Like if you were lifting blocks for a day, I wouldn't be able to do it. Do you know what I mean?
But if you were born into it, you would.
Well, if you're born into it, of course you would.
Yeah, because you know no different.
Yeah.
Then you know different.
Yeah.
And all the cycling. See, the thing is,
it's easy to be lazy. Do you know what I mean?
They cycled to everywhere.
Yeah.
And did a hard physical day's work and cycled home.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there was no
convenience to it.
No, but there was no point that they weren't exercising either. Sure, there wasn't. Do you know what I mean? They were literally only.
And it wasn't as if they had the fucking nicest of Adidas shoes that are comforting their feet or the best of gear.
And
they
weren't monitoring their heart rate.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No, and they didn't have to drive through McDonald's on the way home either. You know?
They probably had a few points in them. But no, that is interesting as well, because you often see the older generation, even when they get old and their bodies start getting frail, they still have these massive shovel of hands, don't they? Like we won't see that for like. The next generation mightn't see that. You know what I mean? Like that's literally we're seeing that with our grandparents.
You see that same thing with rock climbers. I don't know, this thickening of the tendons or whatever it is to get these massive.
Do they?
For the very same reason, Anto. Yeah.
But funny, it's funny because you said you read the book and I went straight to the YouTube to look up the findings on it. But I think that's the YouTube's class, so I think, in a lot of ways. And I know I'm talking
massive tool, isn't it, really?
And things of
really
that influence you. Like, books was the older generation's way. It's almost like the internet is ours in a way. And I know some people would say, "Jeez, that's a lot of shite," but it's true, because you can find out any findings on anything. And you know what's interesting with that as well, and the likes of these podcasts and stuff. Like, I was looking at Joe Rogan's the other day, and it dawned on me that we have access to the top, advice from the top guys in their fields now,
for free.
Yeah, in the blink of an eye. You could look up. Like, there was a guy who was on about running on Joe Rogan last week. He was like the last episode on, and I don't know his name, but he's talking about how he never listened to music or running. Music is cheating. Now, I get that if you're a high performance athlete, but I think that if you want to encourage someone to get out and go jogging, they should use every bit of motivation.
Oh,
give. I need it. I'm not going to turn off the radio when I'm running. But I get what he's saying to himself. He's found that place where he's optimum level of running, and he just wants to be. What the music's not there in real life situations. He's saying, but yeah, I get it. But if you're stuck on the couch and you're trying to do 5Ks, use everything you can. You know what I mean? Monitor your heart rate. Listen to music that gets you fired up. Of course, music has such an influence on us. But so does, we have the best advice from the top guys on medical matters, on physical matters, on everything, really, If you want to dig into something, usually you go and read a book. And now you'd say, well, let me see what's on YouTube. Let me see the different aspects of different opinions.
Yeah, there's different opinions in every subject.
Exactly, yeah. And I think it's important as well. You have to look at different opinions on things.
And you can go to a lad that's an expert on running.
Yeah.
Then you can go to a lad that's an expert on diet. And the running lad might know nothing about diet or whatever you're interested in, you know. But you can cherry pick the best of everything.
Yeah.
Another thing as well is that we have open access to that they didn't have years ago, everyone's cultures. Like, we get to see how people cook food in Africa or Indonesia, or what people are listening to, we can see. We have a window basically to see all this stuff.
Yeah.
You can't take it for granted.
Right.
You look at YouTube, I'll just scroll through whatever. People didn't have that until this generation. Like, remember when YouTube there, 2001, there was nothing on it, and it had this red bar. You had to wait like a half an hour to watch a 5-minute video because the internet, you get 2 megabytes, so it's dial up or whatever, And
now, if you wanted to watch every video on it, you couldn't do it in a lifetime.
No.
If I said to Ray,
yeah.
If I said to you, see that cult and the way they do that chant, and then I turn here and you will see it in 3 seconds with exactly what I'm talking about. From thousands
and we take
of miles
that for granted, but you're right, Anton.
No, it is, because we're the first generation who has that. You can only imagine what the next generation will have.
It's a massive plus.
You know what I mean? Like, what are they going to have? 3D images of it in their room? You
can't even think of it.
You can't, because no one would have thought of what we had now.
Yeah.
Like a window basically into everything, And we have such information now that, you get a lot of outfielders sit in the pub and have their opinions on things. People can't do that anymore because people can prove them wrong within seconds.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So hold on a second. That's not true. And you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about?
Well, it's the same. It's like it takes effort to sit down and read a book. Yeah. But it also takes a bit, like we said, there's so much information.
Yeah.
Like, you could easily get lost down the wrong track of things.
Yeah.
Like,
wormhole.
But it's like, wormhole, rabbit hole, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But, like, it does take a little bit of effort if you want to pinpoint what information you want to see.
Yeah. And I was looking up info on YouTube. Like, it has... I think of like when it did first come out, we were looking up things. It was all music videos probably, and there was no documentaries and no opinions, like no medical opinions. You see doctors on now, but like
absolutely,
apparently now it has 57,000 years worth of footage on it to this week. Isn't that crazy? Like, you couldn't.
That's insane.
Yeah, and apparently a decade gets uploaded every day. A decade
and
of video footage.
57,000. So if
including this podcast.
If even like a 20th of it is worthwhile information, or even less, 100 of it.
There's a lot of bullshit on it at the same time.
There is a lot of rubbish on it, but if even that much of it is good, it's a great. Because
but you can be specific. You don't have to watch whatever's there. You can watch what you want to watch, or subject you want. You just put in the subject, and you might get 10 videos of different aspects, of different opinions on it. Hands down. But another thing is, though, like I said, the tree was like music was the first thing and music. I think when you saw it in the visual, usually like it began with the tapes and then the CDs, and you had the Walkman. I remember I was so into music going, like, we lived in McGaney and we went to school in Levistown. The three of us did, and it was a 5-minute spin, but I had the headphones on from the door to the door. You know what I mean? Like, get a song or two
as much as you can in.
Yeah. Tom's brother here was the same. Derek used to have the Discman in secondary school.
Yeah, never left home without it.
Do you know what I mean? That was just before the...
But it is very influential, and music is something the three of us, I'd say, are heavily influenced by, like, growing up. But what kind of things what kind of music did you listen to growing up? Did it change from a teenage to now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, big stuff.
Like in the full circle, like I can remember the first CDs have like Spice Girls and Backstreet Boys and all. Yeah. And then like I wasn't really interested in music until maybe second, third year. I just listened to whatever, and then got into the rap and like Eminem and Tupac and all that, like, and then just totally switched to heavy metal and and now I just listen to everything. Yeah, I can appreciate it all.
Yeah.
But like
that's important as well. Like I had a tape deck with Take That and Boyzone when I was 6 or 7, and I actually went to see Boyzone from Shane. Funny enough, I used to pretend to be Stephen Gately as well, singing before I knew it anymore. But anyway, I remember when. That also comes along. Music was always in my family anyway, and we were always playing guitar and
big style,
we always wanted to, and I was just always big influenced by music. Bryan Adams from a young age too.
Bryan Adams, now that's something I wouldn't mind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Claiming all right. I don't know about Stephen Gately.
Best
of luck. No, the boys made good music.
Everyone listened to Boyzone back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And you know
except for Paddy.
Except for Paddy, apparently.
Yeah.
I was more of a Westlake.
But then, like you said, rap as well, like Eminem and Tupac was big. Still listen to that. But then
DMX on my front.
Me and you talked a lot about that back in the day. And then I was playing music and I was experimenting with a lot of heavy metal, and lads were showing me Iron Maiden and Metallica and stuff like that, and I was adding that to the list. And then I was listening to like Spanish guitar and orchestras from movies and stuff like that. And I was trying to replicate them, and but music is a serious influence. But there's a lot of facts on music. I was looking up like earlier on that if even how they obviously have music therapy for people, like that obviously helps their mood and change them, whatever like that. But it can alter your mind. If you go running, this thing launched with Spotify, run to your footbeat. If they select songs to match your pace, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also, if you stick on a song and go running, your heart and your respiratory system synchronizes with the music, apparently. So your heartbeat will actually synchronize over a certain amount of time to the beat of the music. It's very weird, isn't it? Like, it's almost like, that's why I always label music as a spiritual matter, not as thought, or, it's. I think it's true, because I think
it's tapping into something deeper, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it can alter your mood, and that's proven. When I drive somewhere and I say if I'm going to the gym, I have a certain workout playlist, or if I'm thinking about, if I'm in a moment of truth where I'm kind of, contemplating something, I have a podcast on, or I have a playlist on my faith. Or if I'm chill at home, I have a podcast called Chill at Home, and I play it on the speaker and I just go around and do a few bits, and it's low key, it's Motown or it's acoustic or whatever, But it does, like, it really brings up people's moods, and even cows, they say, cows and plants, organic matter, react to music.
Yeah,
that's
I've heard something.
Apparently, like, plants grow better with positive chords. Apparently, like, when I say positive chords, I mean C majors and G majors and all. Like, they've proven studies on this. It's ridiculous. Cows produce 3% more milk, apparently, listening to music. Upbeat music. It's phenomenal.
Have you seen that thing where they have music playing and they have like a drum skin or something, and they have stuff spread out on it? I don't know. It's like
sand, a liquid or
sand
rice
or
the different patterns and stuff.
Yeah,
seen
that.
Yeah.
I think that's mad.
That's-
It forms an actual, and I don't mean like a sketchy pattern. I mean a proper. It's like a picture, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, and it keeps changing, but like it's never,
unbelievable.
it's not a mess you're looking at. It's
No.
always something shapes.
See, they have like
Unbelievable.
that's also a thing with our generation. Now we can see music almost. You know, that's a new concept. You know,
you
can
could call it a language in itself if you understood it.
Well, it's a universal language.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but
Universal,
you can see like that the patterns and things like the waves. You can see, you know, you can see music now as well. But you could always feel it and hear it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now you have better. You know, the sound quality's gone up more and whatever else. But I think it is deeply tied into. You know, when you play a song, you go somewhere. There's certain songs that cue certain emotions with you. Might bring you back nostalgia, or you know, might pump you up. It can even increase testosterone, which obviously helps going for a run and things like that. But even like I think it ties in movies as well. I think this is another thing. Certain movies, because that's like image and video. You know, and there's certain movies that I found that have a heavy influence over the years, and like because they're getting better, and at the peak moments, the climax, they have the loud music erupts, and you can see what it is, and it looks so realistic. You're zoned in, you're there. You know, it feels like you're there. You know, you flick off the light, and that's the way it is. We all grew up with the same movies as well. You know, and remakes now they're making them up, but
it's kind of hard to watch the remakes.
Yeah. What do you think of a recent remake?
I know what you
The
mean.
Lion King didn't watch the remake.
Did you not watch it?
There's no point, I don't think, because like for the new generations, fair enough. But like we have our image of the Lion King.
Yeah,
That's it.
And it's a class film. It's a great film. And also, I spoke with this one time before. It's Greek mythology. That's a remake of Osiris and Horus. That's
I heard you on that. And
the
I
brother.
had no idea.
That was with Kevin, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was
I
the
had
one.
no idea there was, and even
I didn't know that at all.
The Hansel and Gretel stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't know, any of that.
But that is that's a reoccurring theme. And I went to see the remake, and now I love the first one, and it's class and it brings back memories. It's timeless, like a lot of them are.
Yeah.
Like you actually look at how old the likes of Pinocchio is. It's 1953 or something like that.
Yeah.
Ridiculously, But the Lion King is one of those that will never age as well. But it was word for word almost. They didn't change anything really. It was
Just basically the same. Just
you knew what the next sentence was.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Except it was generated, whatever. But something did occur to me as well. That is a mythological one. And I wrote this down. I wrote this down a while ago, so I'm not sure if I remember it off. But the certain films like Simba goes from basically I think this is it is a Greek remake of Osiris and Seth. Seth was the evil brother who calmed his brother and killed him. What he did actually was chop them up and sent them down the river. And a little bit different than that, but it also is being born again movie. I know I'm getting heavy into the truth side of things with this, but it really, when you hear a lot of Jordan Peterson was saying about, you need to resurrect your father's spirit. You see that in The Lion King a lot. And that's the story with Christianity as well, that spirit of it. So Simba kind of, we read the way it is, he runs away from his troubles basically, free kind of from consequences, lives until what we think is late teens, early 20s. And then he's renewing of faith almost. He's at a point where he's two lifestyles. He can live carefree away, or he can go back and face it head on. And Rafiki he leads him to his father. And Rafiki's he's playing Christ, who leads someone to the Father.
Yeah.
That's what he's playing there.
Father,
so he's leading him down. And the important thing is, when he looks down, he says, I don't see anything, I see myself. He says, look again. And I always think that's the important bit. They put that in for a reason. Look twice, because everyone has to look at it twice. When you veer away for something, when you get to that teens and 20s, you look twice at it in a lot of ways. And then he finds Yahweh, which is the Father, his Father. And then he gets the encouragement. The Spirit is in him.
What's that what he's called? No, Yahweh, was it?
Yahweh is the Christian God.
Oh, yeah.
But Mufasa is the Father.
That's, yeah.
But, so he goes back and basically takes it all on. But, it's interesting, it is a renewing, that's the way he goes through it, and that is a lot of ways. Another film I thought was great influence, and I heard people talking about it recently, was Gran Torino. You know Clint Eastwood's movie.
Yeah, I heard of it. Who was it? Was it Pearson who was talking
That's right.
about that?
The Baron.
Yeah.
With your man,
Oh, yeah, with the Bishop.
Bishop Baron.
Yes,
I
yeah.
thought that was very interesting.
Yeah,
So I
okay.
never caught this
Yeah, I never
watching
caught
the
that.
movie.
When he was talking to the priest, was it? Or
No.
no.
Do you remember the film well, Paddy?
Not as well.
I only seen it once.
I only seen it once myself when it came out as well.
I did.
But I remember the end scene. Do you remember the end scene? He goes to face the guys and he goes for the light in his pocket and they think he's going to pull a gun out and they shoot him.
Yeah, right.
But the idea, what they were talking about in this podcast was this is just kind of how kind of influential some movies can be as well in that old kind of story wise. He's sacrificing himself. There's nothing there. He knows he's going to get shot. You know, when he says a Hail Mary even before he does it. And as he pulls out, he's exposing what he's doing. He's sacrificing himself to expose the evil. You know, he knows they're going to shoot him and go to jail and be out of them people's lives. So he's doing it for their quality of life, basically. So, you know, they say it's not a coincidence he says a Hail Mary, or even that he falls in a depiction of the crucifix.
He's turning the other cheek, so to speak.
But he's giving up.
He's being a martyr.
Yeah, basically, yeah. He's you know, and that was the whole idea. You'd watch it, you never think twice of it.
I may watch it again.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, but I did rewatch the scene because they said he falls like a crew in the cross, and I wanted to see if obviously when you hear something you go investigate it. You know, that's why I'm always doing it. But
there's a bit of that in that as well, Anto, in Sons of Anarchy.
I never seen that. No.
Yeah, that's something for you to check out.
Especially actually like in like the final scene.
He's
Spoiler alert.
That's over. Yeah.
That's over. But yeah, like Jax he's going,
like
he's facing the truck. He's going to die. The truck's going to hit him, and he's on the bike and he puts his arms out,
offering up his life so that his
for
friends,
the greater good.
Yeah, so that, for the greater good, and so his friends won't have to deal with. You know, he's gone, and you know, he's
so basically
he's taken
all the crap that's going on. It basically dies with him.
And as well as that homeless woman that keeps appearing in it, and she has you know, he's like, how do you know me? When you look back at it, I've looked into it, and
she was like Kurt Sutter was like raw her, as in she was kind of like not a guide, because she wasn't in it that often.
Yeah, no, but she'd appear throughout it, wouldn't she?
In like a serious moment.
Yeah. In a turning point, or
And I hadn't, like, watching it the first time, I hadn't a clue of all this until I heard like all this kind of crack of like the religious symbols in it.
Interestingly, though, she had the bread and wine there, didn't she? And the final. Do you remember that?
Oh man, you're too hard on me. But
she, you know, there's a lot of symbolism in
there.
There's a lot of symbolism in a lot of stuff. You know, I was listening to. There's a lot of things hidden. Like Clint Eastwood hid that, but he hid it on purpose. You know, and also there's the Lion King. You know, they hide it and they don't make reference to even the Greek mythology side of things. You know, the old stories being remade, but also music does it as well. I mean, you listen to even modern songs. Now I know if you look at Cohen and Cash, big heavy Christianity influence there, but if you listen to new songs, you know that Pharrell has a song out, Freedom. And he has the same kind of lyrics in it, you know, if you listen to it. Or there's, you know, that song, In the Name of Love, Bay Rexa sings it now, but it's actually been spoken from position of Christ if you actually listen to it. But it just sounds like a pop song on the radio, you know, but it actually was written that way years ago. But you know, The Power of Love, you know, that real old song. All these songs are actually, they're all like Christian songs, but they're placed in. But just to get back to the movies and the influence on that side of things, one movie I think where the most influence, was one of the most powerful movies, was The Passion, I thought. And we're getting more into truth now.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a powerful movie. I watch it once a year at Easter. I always watch
it. Perfect time, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I actually end up watching by myself, you know. But that's like that is a powerful watch, isn't it? I think that's the closest you can get to re-watching what happened almost.
And if it's graphic and people don't like it, you know, imagine this really happened. Regardless of your faith, whether you're a Christian or not, historically it's proven that happened.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In outside, isn't it, Anton?
There's 31 independent
gruesome death
sources of it.
Yeah, 31.
Yeah, which is apparently more than there is of Julius Caesar's life. You know, it's so documented.
Yeah. And people aren't running around thinking he didn't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no doubt that that the man lived, whether you where you come at it from.
Yeah, it's like I
So,
sent you a clip the other day, I remember, and it said, to deny that Jesus is a person, you're just denying yourself. Like even Bart Ehrman from Germany, the atheist scholar, says Jesus existed, whether you like it or not.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But that movie, you only watched that recently again, didn't you?
Yeah. It's pretty serious too.
Yeah, it was heavy going, wasn't it? But you did see it before, though.
I did see it before. I owned the DVD and didn't see it in the cinema, I don't think, but I bought the DVD because I heard so much about it at the time and watched it. I was like, right, whatever. Didn't really think much of it, I was like, right, that was gruesome,
Yeah.
I was like, right, but you see that kinds of brutality, like, and all the violence and anything you'd watch these days. Like it's nearly like that's what they're aiming for. But I watched it again. I suppose a month ago, maybe, and
July sometime. Anyway, was it?
Yeah, and it was different this time around.
Yeah, but you would ask me, basically. Well, first of all, so you would ask me kind of what did you ask me again? You asked me something on the phone.
I asked you a lot of things over the last few months, really.
What would you recommend reading or seeing or something like that? And I said I'd recommend, if you've ever watched The Passion of Christ, to rewatch it, but uninterrupted, lights off by yourself kind of thing, because we watched it here. Shemaine had never seen it, and she was sitting there and said, "Now, Shemaine, this is the type of film that I'd seen in the cinema when it came out." And I said, this one is an all-phone one, you know what I mean? I wasn't being like that. Now, she walked in and out of the place and she never really got into this film, didn't know what it was about. She came back and he was walking up the hill towards Skull Hill and she didn't get it, really, But you need to invest, you have to be in it almost, and you kind of recognise him as a human being. That's what Mel Gibson did, I think,
Oh, yeah, I definitely think so. Like, the whatever about the crucifixion part of it, I know that's a very important part of the film. But the bits for me were the flashbacks.
Yeah.
Do you know, when he was with the apostles, or the one where he's making the table was
for the Last Supper. Making the table.
Remember,
the
and I was just like, you could feel like the actor, like Jim
Caviezel,
did a great job in it because like as he was building, I was like,
he was going out for the role, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he became him almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't think you were watching an actor. It wasn't, the older films have the English accents and subtitled, and everyone's like, this was in the local dialect that they spoke. Everyone was from, you're looking at what you'd imagine he'd look like. It almost, he became, and very strange things happened on that set. I remember we were talking about that.
Yeah.
You actually saw the documentary, him speaking, that documentary.
Yeah, I've seen him speaking.
Like, hitting by lightning and all on the cross. And all crazy. But that's a powerful movie. That's a good example of a very powerful movie.
Perfect example, Anton. Yeah, absolutely.
Film. Yeah, it was really good. Like, and I found I was saddened by it. That kind of way. It was because of what we're capable of.
Yeah,
of doing to another person.
My heart watching that film. I'd be the same as Tom there. I'd be saddened by it.
I remember
seriously.
I went to see
I cried watching that.
Yeah.
And I have done.
Yeah.
I think it's 2003. I went to see that in the cinema, and I remember looking around, and grown men were bawling their eyes out in the cinema.
Yeah.
And the whole cinema was, everyone had stopped eating. It was the strangest thing. From the very get-go, there was like half full popcorn things on the ground.
Yeah.
And everyone walked out of that cinema, and it was just the weirdest feeling. Nobody spoke a word, and this is true as God.
Yeah.
And I went to see it twice, and walk out into, it was in that Omniplex there in Carlow. Walk outside, and everyone was, you felt as though you're looking up almost. There was a weird realism to it. And,
not saying forces you. Not saying it forces you, but it does encourage you to look at that side of things that we kind of avoid. Because it does open us up.
Yeah.
And we can get emotional, and we can, it forces us to deal.
There's something about that story.
Forces us to deal with stuff that we don't necessarily want to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
There's something about that story as well, though. It's when you see, it's like that, like you say, the flashbacks. It makes him human. It makes him like.
But it was.
Which is a stepping stone between the divine and us.
Yeah.
Which is him. He's half human, but he's half doing God's work. In that way. It's a tough watch. I've cried watching. Like everyone in the cinema did. You know what I mean? Like. Probably not anymore because I've seen it about 17 times. You know, but it's a powerful one. Like, but
brilliant film.
yeah,
it's a great thing for it's a great film for putting things into perspective. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah,
it's like
it humbles you a bit.
It humbles you, exactly. It's like, all right, whatever crap you're dealing with, you know, it's like it's not as bad as this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I said to
absolutely,
my dad and my brothers didn't see it, and they wouldn't be faith based anyway. But my father said to me, I heard it's very gruesome. Wouldn't watch that. And I said, apparently it's not as gruesome as what really happened, because apparently he was unrecognisable as a human half when it happened. And even the story, Jim Caviezel got the whip in 9 tails across the back by accident in all Germany.
Oh, he did, yeah.
But
he got one slap for it, did he? Or
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Imagine what
for real, like
for real, yeah.
Yeah, which would be bad enough. Imagine what the man himself got.
Missed the pillar. He went through some severe stuff, you know.
The shoulder,
dislocated his shoulder. Yeah, when he fell at the cross. That's another great scene. Remember, he falls across and the mother sees him and remembers him as a child. But you think he was just a human, but he was only. It's either between 30 and 33, isn't it?
Yeah.
It depends, whatever way the solstice falls or something like that. They're not sure. But yeah, but then I'll tell you what. Before we go into, we also have a topic there. But before we go into that, faith really. When we're talking about that, I had a renewing of faith, and I spoke about it in this room 2 podcasts ago. Just threw it out there. Paddy, you told me recently, I thought you were always just Catholic raised and you were always the same, but you had a renewing of faith, though.
Yeah, more personal, though. You know, I suppose the same as yourself, Anto. Yeah, more personal.
Well, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
No.
But you better, because you came over here, so.
Yeah, made this podcast worthwhile now. We're wasting our time here.
We got this far, we might as well talk about it. No, but it's very workable. If you look at it like this, you know, I mean, if you don't want to get over scientific about a spiritual thing, but it's the proof is in the pudding, as far as I'm concerned. Do you know what I mean? You can put certain amount of things down to. We were talking about coincidence, and you know, you come up against things. Look, I've had a relatively easy life, no doubt about it. And we all, I suppose, have compared to a lot.
Generally,
compared to a lot of people.
Yeah.
The 3 of us here we haven't had it really bad, like, you know what I mean. But whenever you have any sort of difficulty, you can put it down. You know, you deal with it, and you're praying about it, and people are praying for you. Then you have other aspects, like, so, you know, supposing you're feeling like shit or whatever, like, and there's something going on, and you have a great night's sleep. You go into the next day, you say, "Oh, I put it down to the night's sleep I had. You know, I'm feeling fresh, and I'm, you know," or I put it down to, God, I went for a great run there, or I put it down to, I met someone and they cheered me up, or whatever it is. That helps you. It helps you get over the bump in the road, whatever the bump in the road may be. But there's only so many times you can put it down to, you know, and the common thread through what I'm just talking about as a tangible thing, like, that you can live and deal with and work with. That's what I mean, tangible. It's something you can feel, and people praying for you suppose you're out of work for a while or whatever. You know what I mean? And a thing comes up out of the blue. Things like that. I from that point of view, and then looking into it like yourself, we share an awful lot of videos on whatever we both found on things, and there's a stack of them now. The facts and the evidence actually back up.
Yeah, and they continue every time you go on. You know, you find another one, and I have a list of them, and the list is ginormous now at this stage. You know, and it's signed. But you're saying, so it's not necessarily an experience you went through; it's just everything over time. It's just
it's not like you're rock bottom and all of a sudden, you know what I mean? Something appears to you. Or it's not that not for me anyway.
Just made sense in your life how much it stacks up.
It's workable. It's tangible. It makes sense. You can feel it. And I've looked into it, and the facts back up.
And you have looked into it. I know a lot of the stuff you share with me. But Tom, on your side of things, it's a bit more recent, I suppose.
Very recent. Yeah.
Well, I may go back to before I started this podcast. I had the idea, obviously, and in March, I think it was, or April, and we all went on your stag, Paddy, myself and you set up at, it was probably podcast one officially. Unofficial
we
podcast.
We live to tell the tale.
That could have been. I thought that could have been from. I don't know. Everyone was gone to bed, and we just happened to be.
I'm sorry, I wasn't there for that because he had a.
Some conversations are meant to be sometimes. I think probably the two
to
of us
work out as they're supposed.
But I don't know how the two of us even got to the bar at the same time without anyone else there. I don't know the events that led to that. But
it's hazy before it, all right.
It is. Yeah. It was a blur mark. But I was telling you about the idea I had. I don't know why, how I began talking about it. But anyway, I did. I'm not one for holding my words anyway. But anyway, I spoke about that, and I mean, you got into a little bit, and you were kind of, I don't know if you were, maybe you're best saying it, but I don't know if you're on the edge of thinking twice about things, or maybe you were.
There's always the search. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's and definitely the last couple of years will be like the search is like what's actually going on, like what's my purpose? You know, kind of way.
Yeah.
Because you're a deep character, you are.
Thanks, man.
Well, no, you are like.
But it is. We always try to pull meaning from things. We search for where we can get that meaning or why we should get that meaning in the first place. But what would you say, in your perspective of faith? Me and Paddy are quite aligned in our faith in a lot of ways. We talk back and forth about it. But from January this year to now, what would you say is the difference in how you look at it?
There's less of a reliance of the scientific way of looking at things. There's, I would have said, like, I'd be angry for no reason, just angry, do you know? And of course, what you do with anger, you take out on the people that you love the most for some strange reason, and suffered with that. Possibly, I'd say all my life, and then I was watching a video on YouTube, of course, and it was a preacher and his son were having a reaction to this Perfect Circle song, Judith, right? It was about your man's mother was, I think she was disabled or something from something that happened, and he blamed God for that, but the mother didn't, and she stayed praying to God and all that. I was like, that's weird, like. And he was going on about, like, he was explaining like the God side of things, and like he was so angry, but the mother was like staying faithful. I was like, nah, how is that even possible? It's like she was struck down with something and she's still praying to God. I was like, that's crazy. But then, like, always thought about that, and then just thinking about religion, like, in a way, because like we were all brought up through the same school system. It was like heavily based in religion, all that, and then like
forced.
And as soon as you weren't forced to, you're like, right, fuck this, I'll do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And that's possibly, like, it's probably the worst thing you could do is being like, just be left free and run free. Like, it's you get lost in your own freeness, if you get me.
Yeah.
So there's too many options, isn't
there? There's too many options. Like, and
there's a lot of distractions as well, I find. You know, look, the way Ireland's set up, with a bad head start on it. I think, you know, you're going to revolt against something you're made to do. You know, we're one of the only countries that were, like, once a week made sit in mass, probably. You know, or we were brought to, you know, things like that, and you know, we were associated with boredom probably more so than anything else. You know, and being made do something, you know, and then you say, I was made to do that for years. I don't want to go back into a church and have to sit through that boredom again, and the mumbling and know when to kneel down and all this kind of thing, you know. But that, you know, that is separate though, isn't it? Like, I often say it.
Just what I was going to say to you. You know, when it feels like it's your own, it's a different thing. Yeah. When you feel like I have to sit through it, like I'll be honest with you, I went with ourselves to mass this morning in Castlehermit, and I went around the back and sat and said my own few prayers, looking at the Blessed Virgin, the statue, the grotto or whatever, and you know, perfectly at peace and this, that, and the other, and let them all. I go to mass. I don't go to mass as much as I should, but do you know what I mean, Tom? But
I don't go to mass.
But when it feels like a personal, your personal faith, even if you never went to mass, it doesn't mean you can't have a connection with God. And,
that's right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a personal, when it's a personal thing as opposed to.
Jesus said that as well. Like, I'm not against going to mass, but I'm against what Catholicism has done in some ways as a
people,
as a corruption. You know, things
like,
things can be corrupt. You know, when they're organised like that. But the message of the church is right.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you need someone to tell you what the message is. I think you should figure it out.
Yeah, and you can read your own Bible if you want to read the Bible, or you can pray.
The thing is, you don't need the middleman. Is what the thing is, you know, and Jesus said that in his own words. I remember reading that from the New Testament, and you know, it was one of the things when I became going into my faith. I realised a lot of things that were added in, maybe or were extra that
or
you didn't need. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you read the actual words, it's kind of like you can sit in your own room and speak to God, and that's enough.
And the actions, aren't though?
Yeah,
you know, because he was communicating to us through his actions, leaving the words aside. But he spoke through parables and this, that, and other. But leaving the words aside, the fact that he sat down with people that they were like, why are you sitting down with them? They're this and they're that. And
also,
we're all that way. We're all sinners.
Each of the
no one perfect.
Even the homeless, and
you know what I mean?
you see Mary Magdalene, prostitute. Even the fact that she was a woman, no one held any regard for them.
Yeah,
they often say that about when they discovered the tomb, the empty tomb. There was 3 women who discovered it, and they often say, you know, if they were to make that story up, they'd never put 3 women in it, because back then women
100%.
they couldn't, you know, they didn't take any women's word for anything. You know, they were seen as second-class citizens or whatever like that.
100%.
So if they was to be made up, they would put men in the place or whatever like that.
Yeah, to make it more
realistic.
But
to now though, Tom, would you say if I don't know now, your person, me and you haven't spoken in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But would you say you're kind of more having a renewing almost, or would you say it's not that far really?
It's still, like, I would probably say it's still paper thin at the moment, you know. And looking for answers, like looking at the videos, looking at what people think, and then trying to make my own sense from it. But personally, something's clicked.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, I still can be angry. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As can we all.
But
absolutely. Yeah.
Sometimes there is something that can stop it and make me think twice about what something's going to come out of my mouth, what I say.
Yeah.
And like, as we talk about the kind of, you know, like talking out loud to God or Jesus or something like that, and that is something that works.
Yeah, man, it does work, you know, and that's the whole idea. That's what turned my whole faith around, and speaking out loud and saying it.
Yeah, you find that.
Yeah, like I'm in the van 8 hours a day. Do you know?
And
like,
you're on your own. You can do what you want.
I listen to podcasts, listen to music, and then there's sometimes I just want to turn all that crap off and just talk.
Yeah.
And like it like if you were listening to me, you'd think I was mental, but like it helps. It's like it's just sorting shit out.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but it's more than sorting stuff out in a way, you know, because you can speak out loud and people could say, that's the only reason why you're sorting that out, because you're articulating it to yourself.
Yeah.
But I think there's a heavy, you know, there's a pull to pull Christ out of everything we do. You know, you can see it now at the schools. They're pulling it out of the schools, and they're pulling it out of, you know, politics and everything like that. You see it with the abortion thing. I don't know where you stand on that, but you see that with a lot of things with that. You know, they're just trying to pull
the prayer in the
moralism.
Isn't that something that they were looking at as well?
Yeah, and like my son goes to Educate Together, and really, I don't know if I made a good choice with that. Now he's still, the only thing is though, I agree with that I think it's great that they're multinational and he's playing with them all and they're all one. I think it's great.
It's the way it's going, you know. It's different. Like even when we were in school, there wasn't that cultural mix.
Yeah, and maybe it did need to change a bit from the way we were in school.
Oh yeah,
but it's gone so far the other way. Like I'm going to make sure Kyron does get all of his sacraments. So I think that's important, and Kyron does believe in God, and I try not to push that on him. But sometimes kids have a natural like way of looking up at things. You know, it's very strange. You know, you know, like I was saying this the other day. Like, you know, we drive to work on the tarmac and whatever like that. But you ever go outside and just look up and not see the sky? You know, the sky is only fucking there. Like this room is only, you know, 10 by 10. But you know, like you're on a fucking globe spinning around 67,000 miles an hour around the sun. Like you know, it's completely fine tuned. The trees give the oxygen, it takes in the carbon dioxide. You know, it's crazy in that way.
Sleep cycles.
Yeah,
sleep cycles. Your sleep cycle is aligned to. I know that they can you know, you can put everything down to. Oh, that's an adaptation. You know, that's an adaptation that as a species we can come up with that. And fair enough. Look, I everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but everything is aligned perfectly, isn't it?
It is. It seems to be, and you know, they say everything. Even the scientists say we agree it looks designed, but it could be a coincidence. You know,
one of these famous atheists found it more plausible. I think it was Richard Dawkins. Found it more plausible to think of that. I had him in an argument to think of an alien coming and planting some sort of seed on Earth than to actually think it could have been created by God.
Yeah,
you know, you found that.
Man, this whole like creation versus evolution is definitely something over the last couple of weeks I can't make head or tail of it.
Yeah,
I don't know which way to go.
That'll lead us into that. So there is two timelines basically. So there's an evolutionist timeline and there's a creationist timeline, and it strictly, yeah. If you read the Bible, there's no dates in it, right? So a lot of people say, look, you know, they're not saying that whatever, but if you count back people's ages, which a bishop did in the 1800s, which is, you know, what people go by now.
I think that's why they put it in there. I think that's why they put it in there.
Put the ages in the Bible.
I think that's why it's there. I mean, who goes about writing a story and says Tom was, he lived so many years and he had a wife and they had so many and they lived to so many years. Who writes a story like that? I know you could say it's the language of the day.
They can date it back based on not just the ages, but the events that happened. You know, they can go back and they can see, you know, when the Tower of Babel or whenever,
or like the flood.
So I'm saying right. So that'll get us. So basically, they say the evolution timeline is 18 billion years ago, Big Bang, right? So they say something exploded. A dot exploded, exactly what they say. It was like a
smaller than a full stop sort of job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, exploded and produced all this matter and chemicals. There's a lot of different types of evolution. There's chemical. There's cosmological. There is macroevolution, microevolution. There's a lot of these. So basically, then the Earth was a hot rocky surface, cooled down. It rained on the rocks for millions of years, and it's a few million years ago. Then they say that became a soup, like a chemical soup, from the rain of the rocks, and this is where the first life force spawned, the first being spawned, first reproductive spawned, and then that grew into everything over time, and it grew into us basically. So it became maybe a frog. Or maybe a piece of sludge became a fish, became a frog. I'm
going to do a Joe Rogan thing on Yanko. Can I use your jacks?
You can. Just one of the jacks there.
Yeah.
But it became a frog. Basically went on and became eventually us through animals and everything like that. But so then they have that's over millions of years that evolution took place, and then they have the other side of things, which is the Bible. See, the Bible, like I said, the Bible doesn't have dates, but they date back all the times and events. It's 6,000 years ago, which is a big difference.
Massive difference.
And they say that 4,400 years ago was the flood, and then that is what spawned now. So basically, I hadn't heard any of this until I had a renewing faith. Didn't know what was going on really. Paddy, I met Paddy out for a few pints one night, and he sent me on this link for Kent Hovind, which I sent you there a week or two ago.
Great Kent Hovind.
I sat in that chair and watched it, and I said to myself, I paused it and I said, hold on a second now, is he saying evolution's not true or what.
Yeah, it sounds like lunacy when you're listening to it.
Yeah, so I flicked it off and I walked out of the room and I said, fuck that.
Yeah.
And I came back and said, well, look, the least I could do was watch the fucking thing, you know. So I did. I watched it and I was interested in it. And he when he talks, he pulls up a lot of clips from like scientific studies and he backs it up an awful lot.
Mm.
And like, then I start googling stuff and saying, oh, hold on, like he seems to have like
A point.
So the first thing I saw was the carbon dating thing, and I was like, oh, hang on, he's actually right there. Like freshly killed seals, carbon dated 1,000 years old. It's like, how is that? You know. So what are they aging this stuff on? And then the petrified trees were talking about, Paddy. Remember, like
The strata.
Yeah, the strata, the different rock layers over time. It was like, you know, they had the Mesozoic, Paleozoic, all these things, but still the one tree goes in between them. So there's no way a tree could survive through all them. Upright, you know.
Yeah,
like
the tree doesn't stay standing.
The oldest tree observed in the world is 5,000 years old.
Yeah.
So they said, how could they have different layers that are Jurassic and all, you know? So then they said, there's hundreds of stories of a worldwide flood, well, like more than hundreds. In every culture, there's this story of the worldwide flood. Now, the Chinese have it, the Egyptians have it, the Africans have it. And then they see Mount Everest is like seashells on the top of Mount Everest, fossilized fish and all. Like, you know, how are these at the get?
I don't think some lad was. I mean, it's hard enough climb the York. I don't think some lad was carrying seashells.
No, you wouldn't bother doing that. In all fairness,
just to give us a
sprinkle a few of them on the top.
yeah.
Paddy will fall for this. But it's not just Everest, though. It's all these mountain ranges. So
absolutely, yeah.
So then we get to mythological Eve, and you know a bit more on this now. I've read this.
Mitochondrial Eve.
Mitochondrial Eve. Sorry, I always fucked that one up. Yeah.
I'm no expert on any of this, but like yourself, I am interested in it. And DNA carries something. You know, your DNA will carry something from your father and your mother, and all of ours will. Mm. And apparently, you can trace it down through the mitochondrial DNA is from the mother, and you can trace it down through and to have it that we all came from a common female ancestor.
That's right, yeah.
And that's the evolutionary.
That's the scientific.
That's the scientific evolutionary point of view on
which doesn't clash with the Christian side of things either.
No, but look at that.
I know the DNA they found basically, the way they can age it is that basically the woman's DNA is only 6,000 years old. Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. They reckon there was a million of what's before, you know this better than I do, Tom. But before there's all this. There's Homo sapiens, Homo erectus, all these different. Whatever one was before us, there was a million of them for a million years. This is the theory on it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden there was a dip in numbers.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
And then we all came from.
Yeah, there was
one.
So this is where science and Christianity, Catholicism, or whatever, it aligns. So there was a population, and it dropped off almost to extinction, and then it repopulated
nicely with the flood.
Yeah, that apparently it fits in nicely for us with the flood.
Yeah,
there's no event that it fits in for as of yet for the evolution standpoint.
No,
it's apparently so that they say. I don't know. Are you sure? We were only watching a documentary.
Essentially, as it's something we discovered there in the last few days. But they can't explain how there be that common thread through all the way through from just a common female ancestor like that. You know what I mean? It fits more in with what we believe than with the evolutionary side of things.
Yeah.
You know? Like why if there was a million, right? If there was a million, why would it only end up being that one? You know what I mean?
One thing
was it that there was just one male and one female, and then it went on like that, which is more believable.
Yeah. You know, when you talk about the flood, when you sent me this kind of over and I was talking about Noah's Ark, I was like, hold on, what are we going back to here? Noah's Ark, really? That's my initial reaction to it.
Yeah.
And then you look at the documentaries, and then you look at the worldwide stories about it, and then you see about the Mount Ararat where they found the boat, and the Bible actually mentions its dimensions and all, and it's the exact same, and it's up in the mountains where they said it would be. It's on the sister mountain.
They call it cubits or something.
Yeah, that's one piece of like when he was talking about it, I was like, what the fuck?
But there's a documentary, not Kent Hovind, a Ron Wyatt documentary.
Ron Wyatt, yeah.
And the Turkish
he was like the real life Indiana Jones, wasn't he? The Christian Indiana Jones.
He was ridiculous.
Real life though, real.
Yeah, but the Turkish government even declared that Noah's Ark because they had to send government out there to test it all. And
well, how would it, like they would have probably carbon dated if they found that?
Well, what they did was
there's a few ways of dating though, don't they?
They have different methods, but it was on a volcanic mountain. But when the volcano spilled over with the rock, it actually crystallized and preserved the wood underground. So when they went out with the sensors, the metal detectors and all that, they found different types of wood used back then, gopher wood, which is actually what the Boyle says, and it has all the dimensions and compartments in it. So they said this is a huge coincidence, if anything, that this is there.
And like we were talking about earlier,
because they knew where to look for it. They knew it was on a couple of these mountains. It could only be, and it was Google Images that brought this shape of a boat out when they had to take it off.
The coincidences just compound.
Yeah, but also
just build up.
If it's one thing I've heard, especially looking
I don't
into
really
this,
believe in coincidence now.
One thing like I have heard, and one sentence I have heard is like you can only use coincidence so many times.
Yeah,
there can only be so many.
And you and I are very much on the same page with that.
Yeah,
and it's not true, Tom. Well, no.
As much as I probably hate to say it, it is true. Everything can't be coincidence.
Yeah.
No, yeah. You know.
But you know what? It also Ron Wyatt. Ron Wyatt after that went to the pillars where say Moses gave the laws, and it was the Red Sea, and where the big Exodus. That's what the whole chapter is about. People going from crossing the Red Sea out of Egypt, becoming slaves.
Yeah.
And they found where the pillar was, and they dated it, and they said, "This is actually the pillar they resurrected, or they put up, or they erected." Sorry. So they said, if that's the pillar, then it couldn't be too far where they crossed the Red Sea, if the stories are true.
Yeah.
And they went down, they swept the sea, and what did they find? Only chariots right along a line from one coast to the other.
And the coral built up around
the coral built up, and one chariot was the Pharaoh's chariot, and it was Ramesses II, which is the exact same with the
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Ramesses II's chariot is scribed on it, Yeah. And it's a documentary, and I'll link the documentaries to this podcast. But if you look at it, they actually found the chariots and where they're pulling the horses, and all the shields and swords.
Yeah,
they're all buried in that cross in the sea. And they try and say maybe it was a low tide that day and all, but it's a sea. It's not a river. You know what I mean? Like I've seen.
There's no tide that splits it.
Yeah,
there ain't no tide.
You couldn't have went across with chariots and all for a low tide. Like that's actually a sea. It's not like a river.
Yeah.
But and as well, how Dave died and everyone else got out of it, But it's amazing. Ron Wyatt is amazing. He found the Ark of the Covenant. That's who found that, and he tested Jesus' blood. Remember I told that story?
Yeah, but how come? This is the problem. We've never heard anything about this. What's pushed is the whole.
You sent me that link actually. About him finding the
blood.
About the blood, yes.
The blood. He was the guy who found the blood. Yeah. That only had the female DNA in it.
Yeah, because
that's another thing that just blew me away.
Yeah, do you
and
know what I mean?
Also
and it was still living blood, wasn't it?
Yeah, still living.
And when Lizzie was here, remember she was talking about the Eucharist and they found the blood. After. But so we'll just get on with the age year, because I know it's a controversial one, right? There's a few points on this. So there's obviously the carbon dating thing, that doesn't line up. But also there is the moon age. We were talking about that as well. The way the moon is spiraling away from us every year by
3 inches or something.
Yeah.
Is that right? I don't know about that now.
But if that was to go back, if you get closer, it actually increases because the inverse.
Oh yeah, this is one of Hovind's arguments.
Yeah, that's right, and it buries into the earth. That's one aspect. Now I know there is debates on some of these things, right? There's the age of the Sahara Desert. Remember how they went down and aged? There's the certification or whatever the term is.
That it was only like 4,000.
4,400 years old. Same as the Great Barrier Reef.
I mean, if the Earth is billions, how could that be only 4,000?
That's just coincidence, Pat.
They just dropped it in. They dropped it in the helicopter.
But that's 4,400 is the flood.
It's the flood, yeah.
So the petrified trees you spoke about, and the seashells, the fossilized sea life in the mountains, the population equation. Remember we saw them running the numbers on the computer program?
Yes, yeah.
That the population doesn't line up if the Earth is that old. Another thing as well with the fossils, things like that, they've never found any intermediary stages between.
No,
it's always...
Which is what they call the missing link.
The missing link.
It's still
that's
missing.
Huge, because it's not just between monkeys and people, it's also between animals. So you don't
between
see
fish and frogs.
Yeah.
I reckon frogs just grew legs and, you know what I mean, they were...
But it's very peculiar because they also have to mate with something. You know, if that happens on a once-off. But as well, how come they haven't found one? It's very peculiar as well, isn't it? That's a huge gap. Like, you know, people might say, you know, you're talking about religion, that's far-fetched, but
and so the first thing
huge.
first thing that came out of the ocean, because they reckon they all came out of the ocean.
That's right, yeah.
So it was living in the ocean, and it...
then decided it didn't want to be in the ocean anymore.
No, it decided it'd just generate lungs out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was like, I'll chance it.
Do you know what I mean, though? Where's these lungs come out?
Well, even if you start with the first organism, like...
How did it live when it was figuring it, you know, when it was...
It's a great line.
Like if we were living in water now, there's no way we'd say, right, we're going out to see what it's like up here. Can we breathe up there? I don't know. I'm going.
Yeah, can we breathe? So I try, and then when I do try, if I wanted enough, I'll have lungs. No,
yeah,
nah.
We'll die a few generations until the next generation gets lungs or whatever. But it's a strange concept to figure out. There's a lot of strange ideas,
and there should be in between. There should be while like if it's purely if it's purely evolutionary and natural, and it just happened without anything making it happen, no creation, no nothing like that. There should be, it's trying, but it's getting it wrong a few times before. And as well as that, if they reckon we're around as long as they do, there should be an awful lot more skeletons than what's found.
That's true. And as well,
no bother finding missing links.
If you want, the missing link one, but like as far as
fossilized,
fossilized, not like nothing lasts forever. Do you know what I mean?
Break down. Yeah.
There's a good William Lane Craig. I listen to a lot of him, and there was a book they done out like an equation on the chances of life on Earth.
Yes,
it said, and it's something over the minus factor or whatever by the minus whatever over whatever. I said. So basically, they concluded that the chances of life on Earth spawning is literally a miracle. Therefore, proof of existence of God. You know what it is.
That's clever.
You know, it was very funny when he said it.
The chances of it happening without a kind of a designer are less than Kerry Bay.
Paddy, I don't know. It's fucking far. It's stretched out. I don't know what to make of this now because it is new to me.
Yeah,
but
it's a lot.
I love it though. I love it though.
But if it's a kid, like so, if you're to go, if you believe the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Then God is the creator. Oh. Right. I find it hard to think of that because there's not just Earth. There's so much more out there. It's the universe. There's no way we're on our own. It's not possible.
Well, how come if there was no design on it, I suppose you can say if you throw enough things in the air, one of them will land on the right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But we're the exact right distance from the sun to promote, and we need for plant life and everything like that, and even ourselves, we need from the sun. We need vitamin D. We need what it gives us. We're the exact right distance from the sun to promote life. Like
we're in the Goldilocks zone. Just right.
It's a funny thing about this. Right?
Is that just by accident?
There's a funny thing on this. Now I haven't looked into this enough.
And I'm open to everyone is.
I haven't looked into this enough, but apparently the Bible quotes astrology an awful lot, right? And we think of astrology as the bollocksology, horoscopes at the back of a woman's way, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the lads talk about astrology, but apparently, when this is one of my ideas of why there is such a big universe, right? When you're born between say, two signs, you know, on a certain day when say, you know, when Pluto's in the sun, in a house or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I watched. Do you ever see Jubilee? It's a YouTube channel, and they do loads of different stuff. But they got this astrologer in, and they said he's going to guess people's when they were born based on just meeting them. And he's an astrologer by profession, and he got a lot of them right. But based on like them coming over to him, their persona and their ear shape and all this kind of thing, you know, and it made me think, you know, maybe there's a reason for, you know, we're all personally driven. We have these deep different things that make us go after certain goals in life and make an impact on different ways, like this podcast, or like, you know, like you going and being, you know, religious and speaking your words out, or like you going and influencing someone. You know, it's you know, you have these different personalities, you meet these different people, you connect with different people. But they say a lot of it is, now I haven't looked into it enough, but astrology is a big part of when you're born, determines a lot of it to do with your personality. Now, I know when we're thinking about horoscopes and it's all bollocks, and they can say something new's coming up soon, and that can fit everybody. So it's very interesting how he nailed a lot of people down based on their, you know, based on their persona. Yeah. So it made me think about it more. I have to look more into it, but then I realised that there's a lot of inscriptions in the Bible when the shepherds are out looking at the stars, and sometimes you look back at the ancient men and women, and they look to the sky a lot more than we did. You know, this day and age we don't really think much about it at all. But you know, they knew the seasons based on that, and they, you know, the red sky in the morning, you know, the videos going like that. But you know, it made me just think that I'm going this month. Maybe look
Stonehenge.
Maybe these are reasons why there is such a big universe. You know, maybe it's because when they do align, you know, they influence us so much. We know that the moon influences our tides, but also influences our mood, and they've proven that. So that could give reason why Mars, why, you know, like these other, like the moon mightn't be the only one that influences our mood or way it is. Now it's far fetched, but so in everything. You know what I mean? Like
Greek mythology, Mars was the name of wasn't it? One of them Greek gods or whatever. You know what I mean? So.
But willingly, Craig, I'll say about 5 things he said that science couldn't explain through. Science doesn't clash with Christianity. It's just science is trying to figure out things.
If anything, a lot of
it backs it up.
Yeah.
But there was five.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Very fundamental things that William Lane Craig brought up, and instead of bringing them, there's 5 things that science can't prove, but we accept it. So the first one is logical and mathematic truths cannot be proven by science. Science presupposes logic and math, so to try to prove them by science would be arguing in a circle. Second is metaphysical truths, like there are no other minds than my own, or the external world is real, or that the past wasn't created 5 minutes ago with the appearance of age, are all rational beliefs, but it cannot actually be proven by science. Ethical beliefs and statements of value are not accessible to the scientific community. You can't show why Nazi scientists in the camps did anything evil against scientists compared to the Western democracies.
Even the word evil.
Yeah. Aesthetic judgments cannot be accessed by scientific method, because the beautiful, like the good, cannot be scientifically proven. And even science itself cannot be justified by scientific method because it's permeated on unprovable assumptions. For example, the special theory of relativity. The whole theory hinges on the assumption that light is a constant in a one-way direction between any 2 points, A and B, but that strictly cannot actually be proven. We just have to assume that in order to uphold the theory. So there's like 5 major, you know, things that predate science, you know, but no, it's interesting though as well. You know, you can go down one way, but it's like we'll never know. I think that we're never going to know the answer to it all, and maybe that's the point. You know, because if there was an answer to it, you could say this has been proven. There's no God, or this has been proven. You know, there is a God.
Or blessed is he who has not seen and yet believes.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like
you know what I mean?
If there was no question,
like.
If there's no question mark on both of them, then there'd be no reason for the idea of faith. You know, I hear a lot of people saying, like if God's real, why not appear in front of all of us? You know, should then there be no faith, there be no test of goodwill. Everyone would have to pretend to be good because they know, but the definitely a judgment at the end of it. But I think it takes a bit of a sacrifice. There's a good line I always say that the idea of Christianity, you know, it's, and Jordan Peterson recanted it. It's like carry your cross and stumble forward. You know, life is suffering. You carry the burden of it, but you stumble forward up the hill and you make yourself as good as you can and help those around you as much as you can. And that's
just basically put in the effort.
Yeah, it's put in the effort. Yeah, get on with it.
And we all feel better when we do that.
Yeah,
oh, there's a reason for that.
100%.
Yeah,
you
know,
and appreciating that. But well, fair play, lads. I think we're going to wrap it up there.
Yeah, we'd probably go on for
hours.
I guarantee you, I'd gladly sit here for another 2 hours. Honestly,
but I've run out of notes, so. No, look, fair play. I appreciate you coming in. I know it's not, you know, a couple of mics down. Hopefully it all comes out perfect. But fair play to you for taking time out.
Like we were saying, we're 2 big followers of the podcast, so we're delighted to go on.
Pleasure.
It's funny in saying, you know, we're talking about the YouTube things and the faith and all. 2 of you be the most guys who would be sending me clips and back and forth and all that, you know. But I think it's important though to be looking into these things, you know, and you know, not just to go there day and day. It's not just work and go home, get your dinner and go to bed, you know.
Well, there's none of the 3 of us. We won't put our weight behind anything unless we've researched it. And,
yeah,
you know,
and
any of the 3 of us.
The idea is the importance to research things, you know. It's the same with the intermittent fasting. You're talking about the boxing, the running, your faith, things you look up. You know, you need to look at it from all different angles and make your own mind up on everything. And no one should push anything on you. Same time though,
it's nice to hear you're not in it alone. Everyone's asking the same questions.
Absolutely, Tom.
Yeah.
So it's always good to.
And it's good to have it's good to have a forum to chat about and get it out there because people don't talk about stuff that much anymore. Okay, fair play, lads. Nice one.
Cheers, Anto.
Thank you, Anto.